Okay, this gives you a little bit of my background. I had some military experience before medical school, and then got to serve in an F-16 unit in Wichita as a flight surgeon. There's a picture when I was a little bit younger and out flying with the young lions. $200,000 in the red plus unpaid taxes. I know a lot of you would say, well, that makes me an ideal candidate for a high cabinet position in the current administration.
I second that nomination.
But I'd rather practice medicine. I had tried to set up a practice in anti-aging medicine on the insurance basis, and it drove me in the hole. I went to a meeting 7 years ago as just a participant to find out what do they mean by thrive, don't just survive. I heard a family physician talk about being bankrupted by the HMOs, and that was Vern Cherwitenko. And I thought, well, yeah, somebody in family practice could do that, but how could anyone in a specialty make this thing work? And then an orthopedic surgeon got up and he talked about his experience. And then a urologist got up and he talked about his experience. And if you don't get anything else out of this meeting today, I want you to be able to go home and say, if those people can do it, I can too. And 6 weeks after I got home, I got a letter from the hospital that had bought my practice when I was called up during Desert Storm. And they said they were going to close the practice and move the doctor to a different location. And I thought, well, I know that area, and that's where I'm going back in. So October 1st, the day after they closed it, we reopened it. Had one employee, no patients, no charts, no insurance, no Medicare, no Medicaid. And our first patient was on Medicare. We explained to her what the system would be. She signed the opt-out contract that Medicare requires, and she's been a good patient ever since. And that was our beginning. I wanted to jump right to the numbers because you might be thinking, well, gosh, started with no patients. That's going to be kind of a slow go. Those first 3 months, I netted $4,700. The next year, I netted $5,400. Next year, $60,000, or $54,000, and then $60,000. And then we had an opportunity to take over another practice. I bought that practice with, I used credit cards and cash advances on credit cards to pay for that practice, the assets, and we were able to bring our net income up to $181,000. In the year 2007, what you don't see in the net is that we were also able to buy a Mooney airplane to get back and forth between Wichita and Hayes. And then 2008, we had a good year, and 2009 was a very good year as well. Question I would ask you is, who are you? If you contract with your patients, you're a doctor. If you contract with the insurance company, you get all those letters, Dear Provider. I'll bet you're sick of those, aren't you? So the question is, who are you? Are you going to be a doctor or are you going to be a provider? The steps to freedom. First of all, you have to believe you can do it. And when I left Seattle, I knew that if those guys could do it, I can do it. And then the next question is, do you trust your patients or the government and the insurance companies? Well, duh. We found out we can't trust the government or the insurance companies, so we darn sure better trust the patients. So the next step is get with it, opt out, get out of the system. And yet, when we talk to people, we did a webinar Tuesday night, we had questions coming in, and it made me think of the abused wife that I've been talking to. Her husband put his former wife in a scalding tub of water to punish her one time, and her sister's telling her, you got to get out before he kills you. And we're telling doctors, you got to get out before the government kills you. And we've been abused for so long that we believe that we should be abused, right? Just like the abused spouse. So don't let that hold you back. Get out and ask questions. That's what we're here for, is to answer your questions, help you to do that. Well, I thought I needed a good marketing approach, and one of our former patients came by. She's grown up now. She said, I can put together a very inexpensive ad if you and 3 other businesses will co-op on the ad. So for $200 a month, I had my ad on there with a dance studio, a restaurant, and a gun shop. And we were all in this strip center, and each of us would get about a quick 10-second spot, and it would cycle through frequently on the Fox TV channel. And my pull was, imagine $20 for a 5-minute doctor visit. How much is that an hour? $240 an hour. So not a bad start. And then I went out to meet nearby business owners, let them know I'm working for them, not the insurance company. And we explained to patients that we were 100% focused on them and not their insurance. I participated with the trade bank. Monday, I looked at our receipts, and it was kind of nice to look down there and see that we had so much in charges, and we had the same amount in receipts. We didn't have any accounts receivable. And we did $500 in trade on Monday, in addition to our regular cash practice. That will pay for advertising, it pays for yard care, it pays for holiday dinners and things like that. And we even pick up some cash patients. Paying the bills. At first, I subleased a little bit of the space. I had 4,500 square feet. I didn't need it. And as it turned out, one of the people I subleased to came back and told me about the practice that I was able to buy. So being fair and reasonable to him, he returned a very nice favor to me. Empower the patients. We do our best to help the patients to know how to deal with their insurance company. They're the ones who have the contract. We give them the information so that they can get reimbursement where it is appropriate. And transparency and fees. We can tell people right up front, this is what it's going to cost, so they can count the cost. And I encourage second opinions. They go out and get a second opinion. They come back because they find out we're charging them a fair price and we're treating them well. Pray and give. Every day, the radio is off when I'm on my way to work because I'm praying for wisdom to be able to meet the needs of the patient. And at the same time, up until this year, we have been able to work with a missions clinic 3 hours a week, and that has paid dividends. I consider those 3 hours every week that we spent as seed planted, and you can see what the rewards are. And then keep a copy of your goals handy so you're reminded what it is you're planning to do. In a typical week, we might have somebody call in and they say, well, what about that $20 office visit? And we tell them we haven't run that ad for over 3 years. But they still remember it. And oftentimes they'll come in and they end up paying for $115 in services. And next thing you know, their friend comes in and does the same thing. So that works out well. I still have the freedom to make house calls. And that's such a joy. We went and made this house call, and we got done, and I said, well, we've done everything that we can do medically. We've filled out the forms. We've got your husband set up for hospice care. Would you like to have a prayer before I go? We had a wonderful time. Then I do a lot of hormone replacement. I had this one lady come in, and she was grabbing for the Kleenex from the very first question in the interview, and she didn't stop until we were done. And 12 weeks later, she came back, and I walked in the room, and I said, well, how you doing? She said, I love you. And I thought, let's see, do I need to go get my nurse? And then I asked her another question. I said, well, does your husband love me too? And she said, oh, yeah, he loves you too. So we have fun. This is what I dreamed of when I went to medical school.